Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, world's greatest redneck, and today we're going to finish the ceiling mounted camera hanger, and this has taken an awfully long time. I realize we had a lot of shipping problems. The first shipment of supplies arrived, the whole end of the box torn out. The post office probably has a lot of odd things laying around their shipping facilities that fell out of boxes, and that stuff is there with it. And also during the making of this, I had to cut some 45s on some thin pieces of metal. I say thin, they're probably 1/4 inch thick, and so I caused a little bit of a problem doing that for me, not for the project. It seems like I managed to damage a blade, and I discovered a shortcoming of the Evolution saw. I'll demonstrate that for you here. Okay? When you're using the Evolution saw and you've got a piece sticking out like that, in normal circumstances, the blade is going to come down like this and cut it. In fact, I think it's biased a tiny bit that way, maybe. Not much. But if you got to turn the vise sideways to cut things on a 45, then the blade's still coming down in that same place, and you can see the problem. Let me move the camera a little bit for more light. Now the problem you get is the blade, as this thing goes further towards the back of the saw platform there, then the blade starts to come along more of a underneath and grab it kind of function, and so you need even better methods of securing this down. And if you're using a short piece, the vise has barely got a clamp when you get way out there like that. So you need something pushing down on it from the top. I've cut out all the other stuff after I had the accident where they grabbed the metal and flipped it out of the vise, which of course ate some of the teeth. So I got another blade coming. Alright, so let's get on with the rest of the video now. Okay, so today I received 2 tubes, shipping tubes with all this stuff well packed in it from Jim Enos. And I've saved the tubes and the packing because the stuff will have to make the trip back the other way. I would have to say that these are materials for the grommets that are shown on this drawing here. Here and here. Alright, I shoved a rather substantial piece of metal up in the vise to serve as a stop so that I can get the exact length on every one of these. And so now all I got to do is loosen the vise, shove them in to touch it, cut it, move on to the next one. And everything should be lovely from there. I hope. Yeah, this is a redneck operation, you know. Well, we've had a minor disaster here. The metal wasn't tight enough in the vise, and the saw blade yanked it up, and it's broke the ends on some of these teeth. There's one there and a couple there. So there's at least 4 teeth with damaged ends. That makes, well, 5 then. There's 3 there, 2 there. So, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but the teeth here are not totally broken, with these others further up there, they're chipped off pretty good. There's one yeah, I think that one's chipped too. So, and it may have bent the blade as well, I don't know. So anyway, that looks like I've got a new blade in my future. Such is the life of a redneck. Alright, so I've cut a pile of these gussets and chamfered the edges with the Lipton chamfering tool that I modified to work with my sander. And now we've got, there's 2, 4, 6, we've got 12 of these, and we need to cut the end a little bit, I say for decoration purposes, and maybe keep it from grabbing hold of you. So I'm going to have to cut these guys to look like that, and then we'll be prepared to weld these things onto the black iron pipe. Mr. Enos is going to weld his own, because welding to this plate would make it sort of uncomfortable for shipping. I would cut these pieces on my bandsaw if it was worth a darn, but just making one cut like this, you can see the black line there where I'm going to cut it off. Just making one cut like that, the blade would jump off 8 or 10 times, and I just don't have the patience to do that. So I'm going to do it the hard way and cut it off with a mill. I do like doing things the easy way much better. Well, the end mill did not work out. I looked at it and it was making a big pile of little sharp needles. I hate having little sharp needles stuck in my hand, so I changed it out to this saw. I think it's a better choice. So that's what I'm going to do with each one of these. I'm going to run it with this saw. Okay, that is cut off on the line. So now I'm going to try 2 at one time. Maybe I can make twice as much progress. Just chewing away at 2 of them. We may have success. We may not. I'm ordinarily a pretty lucky guy, and part of my good luck is this right here. This is a Randy Richard knocker, and I've been using it for lining this stuff in the vise, and that's very helpful. I got it in there. You can see it's not lined up worth a darn. And I can reach in there with that Randy Richard knocker, and it's small enough to fit the spot and just right enough to do the job. Alright, I'm going to get on with machining this. Just wanted to say that. Okay, my cutter is too dull for this job, and it's the best one I've got for this kind of a use. You can see the end of that, how it's turning purple from the heat, and I put a ton of oil on there. I brushed oil on it every time I could make, reach for some more. And so I'm going to do this the way a guy that doesn't have a milling machine would do, with an angle grinder. I'm going to try that. Well, I decided to use the angle grinder, and it's going, but I got a little sloppy with that. Made 2 grooves. So I'll clean this up as best I can, and this will be mine. And if you just keep quiet about it, nobody but you and me will know that I screwed up. Alright, so keep it between us, alright? I believe this is the first time I've ever worn out a belt on this machine. Now, it's not this project, mind you. I mean, the belt was pretty well done when I started. But the reason I've never worn out a belt before is I usually get them all snagged and shredded and cut with improperly holding my workpiece. And the poor belt never gets a chance to live its life because of my carelessness. So this is a momentous occasion. This is the first time it actually wore out the belt. We'll get it going here and get on with the job. Okay, the machining is over, and we're down to the welding. And Mr. Jim Enos, who is my customer, says that he'll do his own welding. So I'm started wrapping these up. That's not the final wrapping up for shipment. I'm going to really make sure they don't come sliding apart there. But once I get that wrapped up for shipping, then I'll grab one of these bars and start the welding. I hate to do the welding because it causes cancer in California, and there's my buddy Chuck and Randy and Tom and a whole bunch of guys there. And I don't want those guys to get cancer, but I gotta get the welding done. Well, I ran out of duct tape, so I'll have to use some of that strapping tape, I guess. I've got some someplace. That'll be one box. And there'll be another box with that in it, and another box with the black pipe. So I guess there's 3 boxes. Oh, something I left out of the first box. The collar and the leftover goodies, leftover stuff. So I'll have to come up with a suitable box for the rest of it, but we'll work it out. Yesterday I finished welding up these things, and I even had a few of the welds that were almost nice looking. And then I used the angle grinder and paint to make me the welder I ain't. But anyway, I've got 3 of these things, and these are the pieces that you see right here. I've got 3 of those, and I've got the other piece welded to the brackets on it. And for this little guy, we've got some little brass pieces that go in the holes ahead of the screws. I don't know if I've lost some or not. Could have. There's not many left there. Oh well. Yeah, here's one over here. Apparently they started rolling all over. Alright, so anyway, the idea of this thing is the paint's a little bit tacky still. The idea is you put these little brass things in here as shims. I guess you could call them shims. And put a screw in behind it. Put another one in here. I don't know why I grabbed 3, I only need 2. That one fell out, huh? Now I don't guarantee that little brass piece is going to be in there when I get through lifting it up or not, but we'll see. Alright, this is the piece that's going to hang from the ceiling, and as you can see, well, we've got it setting on something here, but there is a slight lean to it because I didn't get it just right. You know, I had magnets holding it and tried to get it right, but I guess in the tacking down it moved a little. But anyway, that turns upside down from what you see there, and I'm going to screw it to the ceiling. My ceiling isn't very thick, so I'm going to probably use these little screws right here. Should have a 1/4 inch of screw going through that into the plywood. I've only got one area of the shop where I've even got ceiling, you know, so that's where it's going. I'm going to screw it up there to the ceiling, and then I'll bring you guys back. Okay, so there's where I've screwed it to the ceiling, and we need to start this little fan, which misses it, and I use the little error in the angle to make sure that when I installed it, it would miss the cover on the lathe there, so I could still raise it up and oil stuff. There's one of the arms mounted on it, and a camera mounting ring over there. We'll walk over and look at it. I think that's going to be a good thing because it gives me a real bird's eye view of the lathe. I can move it around quite a lot because after all I can move it back and forth and up and down and all that sort of thing, around in a circle. That should do the job. Alright? Alright, that is the camera that I use the most, and there he is perched on the mount right above the lathe, and I would say that ought to come in really handy when I decide to use it. Yeah, I know I'm doing this with my cell phone, But you see, there's no keyhole video. Not a bit. It's full widescreen. Before we get on to see what Bubba or Boudreaux or Oldie might be doing, I got to tell you that I'd appreciate it if you guys would like to view the Sunday ARW discussion. It comes on at 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time every Sunday right now, although I'm considering maybe cutting back to every other Sunday. And there's also another matter that you guys can help me with. It'll require you to make a comment. I'm seriously considering adding another channel to my stuff here, and this other channel is going to be totally demonetized, you know, because it'll be disapproved of, but it's going to be devoted to 22 long rifle firearms and just an old geezer going to the range and plinking away at targets and stuff. And I need a name for that channel, so you guys think of something that sounds really clever, you know. I mean, we got 22 Plinkster, that's pretty clever, but you know, I can't use that name because he's already got it. All right, so give me help there. Let's go see what Bubba's doing. Well, it seems like Thibodeau and Boudreaux had got jobs down at the LaRouge crawfish packing plant there, and Boudreaux, you know, he's an early to work guy, and he's standing there looking at Thibodeau comes into work. He's limping along there, you know, and Boudreaux said, Thibodeau, he said, what's the matter with you? Why are you limping, you know? And Thibodeau said, oh, he says, it's an old football injury. It acts up sometimes. Boudreaux said, well, Thibodeau, he said, I didn't know you ever played football. Thibodeau says, no, I never played football, but he says, last year I lost $100 on the Super Bowl, and I put my foot through the TV set. Well, that's all, folks. Y'all try to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Leave a comment if you got something to say. And above all, remember, keep on keeping on. Bye now.